Hi, LinkedIn family. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or whatever the time zones that you're from and watching this video. I want to share a quick review and the preparation of CISSP that I have done, and I'm honestly overwhelmed with the response that I'm getting on LinkedIn since the time that I've posted that I've passed CISSP, and I wasn't aware that a lot of people out there on LinkedIn community are seeking help on how to pass ESSP. What are the things we must do? What are the strategies one is applying, and a lot of things. So I googled for an hour and two and got all the common questions that people are asking me, and at the same time, what the core questions they have. And I've tried to just collect all of them and put this in the presentation. And I would request you to please be ready with a pen and paper because all of the things that I'm going to be telling you would be better if you make a note of it, because when you write it down, it is more effective than what you're listening it. And this is kind of very informal presentation that I'm going to be doing. And I'm just a big fan of memes. So the next slides that you're going to see would be full of memes, and that's what I like it. So let's get started. So the first thing, how tough is CISSP exam? Well, one answer and one word, it is tough. So the tough word is going to be there. It is really tough. In case if you're thinking that this is an easy exam, it's not. But it gets tougher when there is no preparation to it. If you have not prepared really well for this exam. So people who say that CISSP is really tough and we have seen people feeling it and all, it is real and it is pretty much true. There are many people who fail. There are many people who pass it in the first attempt. There are many people who pass it a third or fourth attempt. I passed it on my second attempt. So I had a peace of mind offer from ISC2. So if you pay a little more, you can have a second attempt within next 2 or 3 months. And I chose that. And definitely this exam is not something that if you give one attempt and you get clear. If you have really worked hard and you have followed all the strategies that your trainer or your mentor has told you, or maybe you're just doing self studies, and if you have done like prepared 100%, probably you will pass in the first attempt. If not, you may not. So the thing is, when it comes to the question of everybody is asking that how tough is CISSP, it is tough, and it is going to get tougher and tougher. There is no pill that one can give you to make this exam easy. So the only way that you can just overcome this fear of tough, prepare. If you prepare it, you can do anything. So if you are going for a battle, don't go for a battle. Prepare for a war. A battle is once. A war is something that you do more than once. So, and there could be many battles in a war. So you're preparing for a war. You're not doing a battle. So that's what I would suggest you. So when it comes to how tough is CISSP, it covers extensive topic about a lot of domains out there, in the security. And pretty much if you are doing CISSP and you are covering almost all of the certifications that has ever seen in the security domain. So let me just quickly drop a picture, security domain certifications. So there's a really beautiful picture. I've seen it on internet, and I would want to just share it. So all security domain certifications. I think, yeah, this is the one. So let me just bring it here for a quick reference. So all the certifications that you see here, CISSP touches every single one of them. So communication and networking is a part of CISSP. IAM is a part of CISSP. Security architecture engineering is a part of CISSP. Asset security is a part of CISSP. And tel security operations. So all the certifications that you're looking at the screen, CISSP has everything, and it touches the topics. That doesn't mean that it will touch in a very deep. That is not the case, but it touches every single of the certification. So you can understand how big CISSP could be, and definitely when it's the syllabus and the exam is so big, there are good chances that it will be hard. It's not going to be easy. So, but understand this thing, if you're not prepared well, everything is hard. So just remember this. So I really love this beautiful picture that was there on internet, and I wanted to share a gist of it. So going to the second slide. So what do we have? How the cat based CISSP exam works. So the thing is, when it comes to the cat based exam, it is of 4 hours, and every question that you do you do not have an option to recheck them. That means once you have given the first question, go next, third, second, next, third, next. There is no way that you can go back and check if you have done the correct answer or wrong answer. You don't get that option in CISSP, and that makes it even tougher. But the best part about that, I like this is actually a blessing. In case if you have given the exam and you have the opportunity to check and you're not sure about something, probably if you even if you have selected the good answer, you might just go back and select a wrong answer, because it happens. Even if you're doing a recheck, what is the chances that you would do good? And the best thing is, once you have attempted the question, now that you know, you can't go back. You just, the only way is to look front, and that's what people do in the exam, and that is the best thing. And I really love the way that CISSP exam is. However, there's something that you have to understand. Every question that you get in the exam for CISSP, the first question that you attempt, let's suppose it is of domain one, you have attempted it. The next question that you would get could be from the domain one or domain two, domain three, could be anything. However, based on the question that you have got, if you do right, you will get a question which is little bit from the same topic, or could be from some other domain, or from the same domain, but little bit harder. And if you do it correct, you might get a question which is little bit more harder. That is a possibility, and that is how it assess you. Let's suppose if you're doing wrong question, again it will give you a little bit of easy question, and then that's how it does it. And once your exam has been done, and the whole CISSP CAT based exam is able to assess that yes, you are really proficient in all this 8 domains, that's when you get the certifications. In case if you fail in even a single domain, you don't get the CISSP certifications. And so you have to prepare really well when it comes to the CAT-based exams as well. And understand this thing: when you're giving a CISSP exam, there are people who pass at 125, and there are people who pass at 130th question. But the exam is of 175 questions in total. So in case if you are in this impression that what if I will just get 125 questions, it is not really true. I have got 175 question when I was giving CISSP. So I'm sorry. And there are many other folks that I know who have given CSSP and they have got 175 questions. So in case if you go with the mindset that it's a 4-hour exam and I will just get 125 questions, I'm sorry, that may not be the truth, because you might get surprised that there are more 50 questions showing up on your face when you're giving the exam and you have only 30 minutes to do. So don't go with the mindset. The mindset that you must have is that first 100 questions that I'm going to give an attempt should get finished at 1 hour and 50 minutes. And I'll take a break of 10 minutes, and then next 2 hours I'll do the next 100 questions with a break of 10 minutes. I think even that is good. But if you don't want to, if you want to take more than 2 breaks, then it's up to you. If you want to strategize your questions, how much you want to do. But how I planned it is, the first 2 hours that I planned, I had done 100 questions, and the next 2 hours I did 100 questions. I mean, the rest 75 questions, not 100. So this is how I managed my time, and this is how I managed to do the CAT-based CISSP exam. So this is a little bit of just about it. There's a lot more discussed in the CISSP guideline, the outline thing on the ICTU website. You may just watch it, or you may just go through the page, and that'll give you a little more of an idea. So let's go next. What is the best way to manage my time during the CISSP exam? The best way to manage your time is to just practice a lot of questions. When you're doing an exam, there are people who can do 30 questions or 50 questions in an hour. I would suggest the best average of your time should be at least 1 minute, at least 1 minute per question. If you do that, it is much better. If you go 1 minute, 30 seconds, it is still acceptable. But again, there are good chances that you may not be able to attempt all the questions in the exam, because it will be like cut to cut, and there won't be much of a time that you would have when it comes to giving other questions. Let's suppose there is a big question that you have on the your screen, and you have maybe taken 10 minutes. Then you have to spare time on other questions as well, and that might ruin it. When I was practicing the exam, I was giving at least 1 minute for per question, and that's it. And by the end of the day, not necessarily that every question that you're giving an attempt will have to be 1 minute worthy. There were some questions which was 10 seconds or maybe 5 seconds as well, because I knew the answer. I was like, yeah, this is good. I know this answer. Hit next, go next, and I don't have to come back and check. So, but the average should be at least 1 minute, and I think that should be good to cover everything. So that's something that I would suggest that you must do. And yeah, let's go to the next one. How to pass CISSP exam in the first attempt. Whosoever has asked this question on internet, I just want to tell you that there's no silver bullet to pass the CISSP exam in the first attempt. The people who are very smart and has been technically sounded for a very long time, and they are in the security field for a very long time, have failed in the first attempt as well. So it's not about that you will pass or fail in the first attempt. It's all about what knowledge you have, what kind of questions being asked in the exams, what are the topics you are being assessed in the exam. So there's no way or anything that one can guarantee that you will pass in the first attempt itself. It's all your preparation. You prepare well, you will pass. In case if you haven't prepared that well, or maybe the questions that have been asked to you, maybe you were not that proficient in those topics, there are good chances that you might get the second attempt as well. But don't go with the mindset that you have to give CISSP in first attempt and after that you won't give any attempts. Then if that is the mindset that you have, probably you should not take this exam at all, because this is not a battle, it's a war. So you have to be prepared for it. Give the exam, no problem. In case if you fail and give a second exam, no option, no problem. It's okay. But the thing is, if you have this mindset where people are saying that I just want to crack it in first attempt, well, then good luck to you. But I don't really know if it is something possible. Like it is possible for few people, they have passed, but there's no silver bullet that can be given that you take this thing and this will work for you. So I don't really think there's something like that. But if you practice really well, there are good chances you can, but there's no guarantee as such. So, what are the best study materials for CISSP exam? So, the best study materials that I have come across and that I know that are available on internet, these are the things that I'm sharing. But before I talk more about this page, I just want to tell you that I'm not being sponsored. This is something completely based on my knowledge, and this is not some sort of advertisement for any of this companies out here. And there's no sponsorship involved. This is something that I'm sharing based on that what I feel that I have studied and what knowledge it has. So when it comes to Prab Nair, this guy has been in security field for a very long time, and he has most amazing videos out there on internet, and he really helps people, and he is a guy who gives out to the community. And he's been very consistent when it comes to the security videos that he posts on his YouTube, on his Telegram, and pretty much everywhere. And I really like the coffee shot that he has for CISSP. So he has a good playlist out there. The reason why I didn't link it here, I would want you to just go and Google it and then find it out yourself. That would be really helpful for you. Luke Ahmed, this guy is a bit of a mysterious guy. I don't know him by face, but he has a lot of YouTube videos and webinars, and he has his own training plan as well. And so do Prab Nair. He has his own training that they provide for CISSP. And as far as I know about Luke, he is an author of one of the books called Luke Ahmed for How to Think Like a Manager. I've read this book, it's really amazing. So when it comes to Luke, I think you should definitely watch his videos on YouTube, and it is definitely going to help you when you're preparing for the CISSP exam. Kelly Henderhan, cyber training. I would say this lady is one of the best that I know for a very long time. She has been in the security field for more than 25 years, I believe. Because when I was doing my Security Plus, I was watching her videos as well at the same time. So I've been known, I know her for a very long time, and she has amazing videos on CISSP as well. And she has released a couple of videos about mindset on YouTube. So you might want to Google that as well. And coming to destination certifications, one of the easiest language that has been used to explain CISSP and its concept is this book. It is so easy that even if you are a college pass out, or maybe you are somebody who is just trying to get into security field and you're trying to find your way, this book is something that I would suggest you. However, I've listed quite a few books. So from the left to right, we will talk about it. So the left book that I have here is All in One from Sean Harris and Fernando Miami. This book is really good. This explains the topic the way it is, and I really love it. I mean, I like topics which is technical at the same time. It's easy to understand. So I really went for this book. And Certified Information Security Professional, the CBK, the Common Book of Knowledge Reference, is endorsed by this CISSP ICTU itself. So this is something that they suggest to follow. However, this book is good, but it was so technical, and there are a few topics and even words that I was finding it difficult to, understand, and I had to Google it and come back and check and then understand. So the book has less pages, but it's something that I don't like. I don't personally recommend, but if you are somebody who finds it easy, go for it. That's completely fine. Destination certification, I think I already spoke about it, so we're good. How to Think Like a Manager is an amazing book. It has 25 questions, and this is the book from Luke Ahmed, like I said, and he really talks about how to think like a manager during the exam, and that is what it all matters during the exam. And if you are uh, preparing really well, and if you think like a manager in the exam, that's when you will pass the exam. No matter how much of technical knowledge you have, it would be difficult to pass just on that basis. So that's something I would really recommend. So let's suppose all of these four books that you have read, and only then go ahead and read The Memory Palace. This is a very short and small book of 140 pages. And if you see the way that they have actually summarized, I have read this book maybe twice while I was preparing it. And every single topic that we have in CISSP, they have combined all together, and they have just given a quite quick gist, or maybe like a summary of, you can say. And when you read it, it becomes very easy to remember things. So the book name itself says Memory Palace. So it will make a palace of the memory of CSSP for you. So I highly recommend this when you have done with your questions and when you have done with your reading videos and all those things. Definitely take a couple of reads for the memory palace. Question bank that we must do to practice questions. There are a lot of ways that you can practice these questions. Official practice test, CISSP all in one. 9th edition, it also has practice test behind the book. And there's Boson, there's Learn the app, Pocket Prep app. There are a lot to talk about the practice questions, but I just want to tell something really important. When you're practicing questions, understand and just keep this in your mind. Not a single question that you're doing in CISSP practice test would be there in the exam. And the reason why is CISSP is pretty smart, and they have made the exam in a way that not a single question that you're going to give an attempt, even if you give 5 or 10 attempts, there are very less chances that you will get the same questions. That is how they have made it. Trust me, it is very difficult to have a question which is identical. You might get a question which is bit similar, but it's never going to be identical. So what I would suggest you, when you're doing the official practice test, definitely do it. And Boson, you can do it. You can do Learn the app, Pocket Prep app. But the reason why that I have put this slide over here, I want to stress this thing. If you are doing a practice test of 100 questions, you don't get to know how good you're doing in each domain, because when you're doing and attempting a question, you don't really understand which domain question it is and what it is asking for, because the questions that in CISSP are, it may be from domain 6, but it's relating to domain 2. That is how the questions are in CISSP. So everything, the domain 1, domain 2, domain 3, and till 8, everything is related. So there is no way that it'll be easy for you to just, write it down. This must be domain 6, domain 5. Don't do that. The best thing what I would suggest is do 150 questions each domain, and then see the result, and then make an average of it. So let's suppose you did first attempt of first domain. You have done 100 questions. Now you know that out of 100, you have scored 70. That means you know that if 100 questions are thrown at me, I'm able to solve 70 questions. That means I'm at least good at this domain. Fine. You did domain 8, you got 60. So now you know that in domain 6, I'm a little weak and I have to put little efforts on that. But when you're doing a practice test, there are good chances that it doesn't throw equal questions from each domain. It will be 10 from domain 1, 20 from domain 2, 30 from domain 3. It could be something like that. It's not necessary that you will get questions from like same amount of questions from each of the domain. Hence, it's highly recommended. Do practice questions domain wise each, and then go for the practice test. That's when you will be able to assess yourself that how much you know. And I highly recommend to do it that way. And to do that, we have automation. You can use an app. So LearnZ app is something that I would suggest you, because it's an IC2 official app, and I really like it personally. However, there are other apps as well, which has been endorsed by many other people out there on internet, and said that this is one of the best apps. So just use whatever you want to use. But I just prefer the LearnZ app, and Pocket Prep app was also good, but I already got the subscription for LearnZ app, so I didn't go for anything else apart from that. And that's something I would suggest you. And when it comes to question bank, don't have this mindset that if I do 3,000 questions, I'll definitely pass the exam, or maybe if I do 4,000 questions, I'll pass the exam. That is not the exam books. The practice questions only touches the topics that would or might be discussed in the exam. It is something like a refresher to you when you're doing questions. It is not going to be the exact question in the exam. So it's just touching those topics that might come in the exam. So it is what it is, but this is how it works. So are questions that we are practicing going to be the same in CISSP? A big no. So I shared this so that you understand that it's not going to be the same. I gave the exam twice, and I'm telling you, the first attempt that I gave and the second attempt that I had, not a single question was from the first attempt that I gave. So that's never going to be the case. What are the common mistakes, sorry, made by CISSP aspirants? Well, a lot of common mistakes are there, but there are few that I'm going to be listing. Managing your time. You must know how to manage your time when you're giving the exam, when you're in the exam hall or the test center, or even when you're preparing for the exam. And if you allocate enough time, you would definitely be able to complete your entire syllabus that you have to read and do the practice questions and do it. But also, I would suggest you, there's something that you have to maintain, and that is discipline. If you do that, that's something achievable. And not don't have this self doubt in your mind that what if I will fail, what if this will happen, what if that will happen. If something has to happen, it will happen anyway. So if you have this thought in your mind that what if I will fail or something like that, it's not helping you. And you're thinking about something that hasn't happened yet. It's just in your head. And it is going to remain in your head until unless you don't address that feeling. So just think about what you can control, not things that you cannot control. So just don't do too much about, stress too much about those things. And not knowing what is enough. The reason why I'm saying not knowing what is enough is you must also understand what is enough to study. Like if you study there's a topic like Kerberos, it's an interesting topic, and you've been studying 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours on it, and after that you did a practice question and you're scoring like 50, 60, 70. That is good, but understand, is it really needed, or is it really needed that you have to do so much of it? Even if you give 1 hour and you're scoring 50 or 60, it's good enough. So just understand that there is something called that you should know that this is enough for this topic. This is enough for this chapter that what I'm doing. And I think I'll be able to do it because any question thrown at you, you're able to answer it. That is enough. So you must know what is enough to do. Don't go too much detail, don't go too much in it. That is not really needed. And this exam is not actually technical. This exam is something which will tell you more about how to handle technical things at a managerial level. So of course, it has a lot of technical things, but the perspective of the exam is different. The intentions are different. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. What are the most important topics to focus on the CISSP exam? Well, honestly, this would be my reaction when if somebody says, "Hey, what is the most important topics?" There are no important or less important topics in CISSP exam. In case if your trainer tells you that, "Hey, this is the topic that you must read. This is the topic that you must not read." That's okay. However, understand there are good chances that 90% of the times that the topics that you have not read may not come in the exam. But there is still a chance that 10% of the chances that it might come in the exam. And at the exam, there is no one that you can go back and say, "Hey, you told me not to study this and this came in the exam." That's not how it works. There is a very important topic of COTS in CISSP. This is one of a subject that one should really prepare well. And it is important, but in my attempt, it wasn't there. So it can happen. So there are things that may not show up there. And in my exam, there were other things that were showing up that I did not even read about. So it is like that. So exam is always going to be there, and this is how it is going to be. Read everything, know everything that matters, but at the same time, prepare so well that anything that is coming on your way, you know what it is, at least. That is good enough. So there's no thing as important topic or non-important topic. And this is completely my perspective when it comes to the exam. There might be some other people who may have different thoughts, but this is something that I'm sharing, and this is how I have prepared for the exam. So yeah, let's go to the next one. How to stay motivated while studying for the CISSP exam? Well, see, there are a lot of ways that you can be motivated by. I know only one. So, but there is other one that a lot of people follow is to buy the motivation. So when I say buying the motivation from somebody else, is like you go out and you watch some motivation videos on YouTube of 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then you read something motivational quotes and something like that. This might work for some people for a certain period of time, like maybe for 2 hours, 3 hours a day, month, a week. But in reality, what I feel is there is no such thing called as a motivation that is going to sustain for a longer period of time if you buy it from somebody. If you want your motivation, you need to be self-motivated. And self-motivation comes from inside, it's within you. And the only way that you can have self-motivation inside you is while being disciplined. If you are disciplined, you are dedicating a specific amount of time for your studies, you are dedicating amount of specific time for your work, you will be motivated. And there are days that you may not feel motivated to do anything, and it's okay. If you're not feeling motivated to do something, get up, still do it. Probably you will find yourself motivated after doing the things. So it happens. There are times that you don't get the motivation before you do the things. Once you have completed the task, then you feel so motivated that you want to do more. And the brain works in that pattern. And there's a lot to talk about brain and all those things. I don't want to get into much of details about how your prefrontal cortex and how the dopamine gets released in your brain and all those things. I've read a lot about it, but I don't want to discuss that. All I'm just trying to tell you is be disciplined. That's it. That's important. How to deal with the stress of CISSP exam. This topic is interesting and something similar to the previous one. And let me show you, this is who I was before the exam. I was completely stressed, even the half an hour before the exam. And even while I was giving the exam, I was stressed. No doubt about it. This is how I was looking like. But once I passed the exam, this is how I was looking like, finally, in a piece. But realize this, guys. Why do you actually get stressed? When you have invested in something, when you want something to happen, and you're afraid maybe it may not work for us. And stress is something which is good for you. If you're not stressed, how would you get motivated to do something? You have to get that stress. So all I have seen, if you are doing nothing, you don't get stress. You don't have to worry about anything, right? No stress, no anxiety, sleep, eat food, take rest, no stress. But when you are committed to something and you have a goal to do, that's when you get stressed. If your manager gives you a task and you have to complete it by tomorrow, you will be stressed and you will do it. And within that stress, the outcome will come. It will happen. So this exam is something which is stressful, no doubt about it. The day before exam, I was stressful. The week before, I was stressful, and when I was trying to study even more at night, I was stressed. The stress is going to be there. The only way that you can deal with it is doing some meditation, take a walk, talk to a friend, go out, hang out with your friends for some time, and come back home. Don't get too much, involved with the friends at that time when you know that the time is going to take that they're going to take a lot of time out of your schedule. Don't do that. But I still recommend have breaks when needed. So those are the things that I did even when the CISSP exam was going on. I took two vacations within a span of 4 months, and that was completely okay. And I was able to still contribute the time that it needed, and I was able to do it. So I really recommend that you can still do it if you give enough time and be disciplined about what you're doing. So, yep, that's important. And what are the job opportunities after passing the CISSP? If you read anywhere on the internet, there are a lot of talks around that what kind of job I will get and how much salary it is. And CSSP guys are getting 130,000, $140,000 in US and all those things. CSSP never guarantees that you will get a job. Number one, just keep this in mind. CISSP certification gives you a path that opens up different gates in your career in the security, and it will give you a lot of other things that you would want to do. So in case if you are sorry guys, there was a bit of a noise in the background. So I was saying that it gives you a lot more options that you want to do in your career. So that's something that what CISSP gives you. It gives you enough knowledge that you can find your career path in maybe a physical security, maybe in a risk analyst, or maybe you want to get into some other domains, or maybe a network security, or whatever that you want to do. So that is what it is. But it doesn't guarantee that you will get a job. So don't have this mindset that if you have done CISSP and you are going, you will get whatever the job you want. Probably it is not something that may happen, but you may have a lot of doors for opportunities will open, and that is something that I can tell you about CISSP. If you just see the slides that I have done so far, out of this, I did not discuss the most important slide, and there is a reason why I did not mention it here. And I wanted to mention it in the end. So the most important topic that people must know is how to think like a manager. I've already shared one of the posts on my LinkedIn. You will find it there with a proper Word file. And I've mentioned the link as well to watch the videos on it. But there is a video from Prab Nair and Luke Ahmed, and there is a discussion of 1 hour and 20 minutes, which is really good. I recommend that you watch that video at least a day before the exam to clear your mindset. So when it comes to the word that think like a manager, you have to answer the questions like a manager. You are a risk analyst, you are a senior manager, you are a CEO, or whatever that has been said. The idea is it's not about how technically the answer is correct. It's all about how a manager would deal with that problem. And this mindset takes a little while. When I was preparing for it, when I was reading it, I did not know. I went wrong many times. I did not know that. But of course, with practice, I was able to understand, okay, this is what is being asked, and this is what it is. And maybe this is how I should deal with it. So it happens. And there are a lot of silly questions. It will come in your mind that, no, this is correct. This is definitely technically correct. But don't think 100% technically. There are questions which is technical. There are questions which are not actually technical, it's managerial. And the technical questions are for managers and managerial questions are for technical folks. So this is how the exam is. All I would suggest you is prepare your mindset before going the exam. You are not a problem solver. You are a guy who addresses the problem. So when it comes to addressing is, you can direct somebody, you can tell what to do, but you're not going to just go there and do solve the problem, and that's not who you are. So remember that when you're doing the CISSP. I have pretty much discussed all the common questions that were asked in the forums and go on the Google and LinkedIn that I have thought of. And pretty much I have discussed everything that I knew. And I hope this helps you. And in case if you have any questions, feel free to ask that in the comments. And in case the way that I speak or maybe the words that I've said offended you in any way, I am sorry. And you may want to comment the things down there in the chat as well. And thank you so much for spending your time and joining, watching this video. I really hope you pass the SSP exam, and I wish you all the best. And that is the end. Thank you so much. You guys have an amazing day.